Hey, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with crank.com and with that metal station. And today I'm getting to have a chat with punk band from New Jersey, Sell Yourself Short, who recently released their Lower Standard EP, 3rd of December. Got a couple other cool EPs and also one that's also good for this time of year, is Sell Yourself Short Christmas. Cheers for joining me, Mark.
Thanks for having me.
First off, man, tell us a little bit about yourselves, because I know you guys were under another name, Best Regards, and you've kind of reformed as Sell Yourself Short. So just tell me a little bit about the history of you guys leading up to now.
Sure. So it started out Best Regards. There was this guy, Tyler. He basically released like a solo EP where he did all the instrumentation himself. And then put up an ad through Craigslist to find a band, essentially. And I answered the ad to be the drummer. And so did that for a couple of years. Me and him kind of had a falling out, and I left. And they ended up getting a new drummer. And then he ended up quitting the band. He was the singer and like rhythm guitar player. He quits the band. And then so they call me and they're like, hey, do you want to come back and be the rhythm guitar player and the singer? I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? And that kind of takes us to where we are now. We got a different drummer since then also, though. We just started with a new drummer guy. His name is Andrew. So he's our new drummer that just started with us.
Cool.
Just rehearsed with him yesterday, actually.
Nice. So it only made sense to kind of go with a new name as well. It must have kind of been like, yeah, let's just get into this. And with the events of fucking 2020 leading into 2021, it just seemed like a good time, I suppose, for you guys to get in there and lay down some EPs. I think Argos Sinking was the first single. Tell us a little bit about that one.
That was one of the first songs we wrote as like the reformed Sell Yourself Short. We actually changed the name to that before I came back as the singer. We changed the name to Sell Yourself Short when I was still the drummer.
Yep.
But Argos Sinking was like the first song we wrote as with me as the singer, and then Bankruptcy was the B-side, if you will, to that. That was actually carried over from the old singer. I just rewrote the vocals.
Yep.
Because the music was written by Tom, who is still the lead guitar player on that song, Bankruptcy. So I just redid the vocals and we re-recorded it with like a faster tempo. So that's like an older Sell Yourself Short song, if you will. But yeah, then we released that like towards the end of 2020, I think, as well as that Christmas EP with the 3 Christmas songs on it.
Yeah, and you were using like a drum program there. So you mentioned that you got Andrew was in there now. Was it a drum program you were using for the drums on this, or?
Yes, yeah. Everything we've released so far was the drums were programmed.
Yeah, I've seen some Unreal 2 pieces, dude, come out with some drum programs on their sets, man, and just fucking ripped it up. But it also must be good to have an actual drummer now for the band going forward.
Sure, because we want to play live, and nobody wants to play with a drum machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you lose that rock and roll feel. You know.
Yeah, I was going to ask, man, where does the name the Argos Sinking? Tell us where does that come from? Because a funny story is I seen that one, and it immediately grabbed my attention because we had this old historical fucking barge sitting down because I'm on the Murray River in South Australia, and it was like this old ferry called the Argo, and it actually sank a couple of years ago. So I seen the name of your song, Argos Sinking, and I'm like, there we go. That's a perfect track for it.
Right on. That's funny. Yeah, that was actually that was my wife's idea. She actually helps me write a lot of the lyrics in the band. She's a lot more poetic than I am, so that was actually her idea. She helps me a lot with that. Argo was it was a ship built by gods or something like that. It was like a mythical. It was like a Greek mythology kind of a thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Jump through to now singing. You were on drums. You mentioned your drums, and you've made the change to singing. Is this the first band you've sang in, and what was it like making the transition over from drums to singing?
No, I used to sing in a punk band called The Swindle.
Nice.
That we played for a couple of years, and they actually kicked me out around the same time that I joined Best Regards. Yeah. Um, I was like, hey, when are we going to get together and practice again? I was in the band for a couple of years, but they were like, oh, yeah, about that. We're moving in a new direction. I was like, oh, okay. Thanks for the heads up. But
no worries.
we actually released 2 EPs in that band, The Swindle. That was like more, it was like an aggressive sort of punk rock band. And then when I was drumming for Sell Yourself Short, I was doing a lot of the backup vocals and stuff still, like live and everything. So I've always sang to some extent,
Yeah, would have been good to kind of step up there with this latest EP, The Lowest Standard, man. Can we walk through it a little bit, man? Tell us about the first track off the EP there.
That track is essentially my astonishment. My wife helped co-write the lyrics on that also. Both of our astonishment, if you will, at the fact that people would storm the Capitol of America. Like, it was like, holy shit, like that is, that's like the lowest that's like the lowest standard of person that's gonna break down the doors of a Capitol building and try to overturn the results of an election. It was I remember watching it and go, like, watching it on TV going, is this actually happening right now? Like, holy shit, and it's like something out of a bad movie, and so that song is basically a reaction to that.
Yeah, it would have been. That was a full-on time. Don't worry, I was watching it here, and I've got a lot of friends in the US as well, and they were like, "Wow, that was a really full-on time. That was for sure." And actually made a lot of bands actually made for some good songs coming out of that as well, though.
Sure.
But it was the lowest standard of person, you know what I mean? That kind of time as well. And it was a very fucking divisive time going through there. It must have been feeling a lot better now coming through that. How is everything going over there, like music-wise, with the fucking live scene? Because I know our live scene was basically cut down for the last couple of years and just coming back now. What was it like over there?
Everything shut down. There was no concerts, no music venues were open for, a year or so, maybe even longer. But there's shows coming back now. I know starting tomorrow, I'm in New York City actually, and starting tomorrow, we have a mask mandate again. Everybody's got to wear masks in public places again. So I don't know if we're going under more restrictions and stuff like that, but there have been live shows happening. We haven't played any yet. The last live show I actually played was Tom and I from Sell Yourself Short playing in a metal band called Anticosm. And the last show we played was right before everything got locked down. It was March 2020. And I remember we were all at this show and we're like, should we even be here right now? Because everything was getting shut down. We're like, holy crap. It's like, the brink of the end of the world or something. We're like, this is crazy. And it was, I think the next Monday they shut everything down after we played that show. It was a Friday. And that was the last time I've played live, actually, was March 2020.
Yeah, that's a huge gap. What are you missing most about playing live? What's the one thing you're really, really missing about being up there and playing live?
I mean, for me, even just writing songs and releasing music is a means to a live performance. I like playing live. That's my favorite thing to do, get up on stage, jam the songs, you know what I mean? Get a reaction from the crowd. So I miss, all of it. Definitely looking forward to getting some shows going again now that we got that new drummer, Andrew. We're going to start looking around, seeing what we can book. I know, people are booking shows again. So now that we have a drummer locked in, we're probably going to start looking to play live.
It seems like you've got a really strong music scene over there in general, but the punk music, like, out of that area is bloody unreal. There's always great punk coming out of that kind of area. What's it like being a part of that scene over in that area?
One thing that's cool is that there's, in New Jersey especially, is a lot of basement shows. There was always a lot of basement shows. There's always this cool place called the Meat Locker in Montclair. It's like, this underground, nasty, grungy, dirty basement. You know what I mean? And people would just like pass out drunk there and end up, spending the night, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, it's always fun to be at a show like that with those kinds of people. Everybody just likes to party, have a good time.
Yeah, they're doing, you mate, lots of good connections at those grassroots shows. I love going to shows like that, always have, love going to those big shows as well, but also going to the grassroots shows, the underground shows. Those kind of shows are fucking experiences that I've had the best times at as well.
Yeah, those are my favorite personally.
Yeah, tell us about the next track there, In These Four Walls.
That song's pretty straightforward. I sometimes, as a hobby, you could say I practice ceremonial magic and things like that. That song's about summoning demons.
Yep. Yeah, nice.
Pretty straightforward.
That's the way. And you mentioned it before that you do write a lot of the tracks there with your wife. That must be fun as well, having your wife there, but also being able to make this music and these songs with her as well, the lyrics and everything.
Yeah, that song Tom wrote the music to, In These Four Walls, and I wrote the lyrics. That one was just me and Tom. But writing with my wife is a lot of fun. If she had more time, she's busy. She's going to college to try to be a scientist right now. So she's really busy. If she had more free time, we would probably like have our own music project off on the side, because she plays piano and guitar and stuff like that. So she's musical also.
Yep.
She used to play in a black metal band back in the day.
Yeah, nice.
Called Black Satana.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Tell me the next track, The Bitterness at Hand.
Bitterness at Hand. That song's loosely kind of like a war story. That the lyrics I co-wrote with my wife on that one also. I wrote the music on that one. That one's kind of just loosely like, from the mindset of a soldier that's, stuck in a war and not sure if he's going to make it back. So.
Yep. Nice. So 2021, man, it's been a pretty fucking crazy bloody year, but there's also been some great music coming out as well, man. Is there any bands that you've been rocking like this year that has really grabbed your attention, or anyone you feel worthy of a shout out, even bands in your area, man, that people should go and check out and have a listen before the year's out?
Things that I've been listening to that are newer. I really dig the new Halloween album.
Yeah, that's
with Michael Kiske coming back on vocals and shit like that. That's an awesome album. I've been listening to the new Angels and Airwaves. I just saw them live recently. I think they're a pretty cool band. Went with my wife to go see them in New York City not too long ago at Irving Plaza. I think it was Irving. No. Hammerstein Ballroom. Ballroom they played at. I'm trying to think. The Crown Royal Destroyer. I think that came out this year.
Yeah. Wasn't that a good album? There's some fucking hundred. That was a cracking album, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, despite the music Sell Yourself Short plays, I listen to a lot of metal. My other band's like an extreme metal kind of like, band. So I listen to a lot of metal music. But yeah, The Crown, they're one of my favorites for sure. Trying to think who else came out with an album this year. AFI. AFI is a band that I like. They came out with Bodies, which was a pretty cool album. Did Cannibal Corpse come out with an album this year?
Yeah,
was that
Cannibal Corpse come out with an album?
Imagine. Yeah, that's another one I've been rocking. Yeah, that one's really good. So yeah, that's pretty much the stuff I've been listening to lately that's newer.
Yeah, there's been some great albums coming out, and the way the last bloody couple of years are going, it feels like kind of 5 years in one as well. You kind of get a little lost in things that are coming out as well, and the current state of the bloody world.
Yeah.
What was it like making this album? Tell me a little bit about how did you make this? Where did you record it? Did you do it at home? Who done the production? Tell us a little bit about that side of things, man.
Tom pretty much did everything. Tom, we recorded everything in his apartment pretty much. He's got a whole setup over there. He recorded my guitars there. We recorded the vocals there. I don't remember if Brian recorded the vocals there. Brian, the bass player, lives actually up in New Hampshire. He may have recorded the bass tracks up in New Hampshire and then sent the files to Tom. But Tom did all the production and everything. He programmed the drums and all that. He did all the editing and the mixing and the mastering. So he, kudos to him for putting all those hours in, mixing and editing everything. But yeah, we did everything at his place.
It would have made it a little bit easier to be able to do it at his place with everything going on as well. I suppose there would have been restrictions to and how many people and
sure,
stuff
yeah,
like that as well. So being able to do it in-house would have made things a lot easier, but also made the time a little bit more bearable to be able to work on some music as well.
Yeah, for sure.
The cover, who did you get to do the face plant on the bike, dude?
That's actually me. That idea, you know what? It's funny. That idea came to me. We were trying to figure out, like, what are we going to make the album cover? What are we going to make the cover? It was like the lowest standard. I actually spent a weekend camping at a NASCAR race. And it was like 9:00 in the morning. I got up out of my tent. I was like walking to the bathroom. And some guy's riding his bicycle 9:00 in the morning with a drink in his hand, and he's clearly hammered and just takes a sharp turn into a fence and just face plants, gets tangled up in the bike. The drink goes all over the place. His legs caught in there. I'm looking at him and I'm like, that's the cover of the lowest standard right there. That I was like, that's it right there. And I said to my wife, I was like, we have to recreate a scene that I just witnessed for the album cover. Just take a picture of this. I recreated that. But I'm watching that. I'm like, I wish I had a camera right now.
To be fair, that was me one New Year's many years ago when I used to drink, dude, and I tried to ride a push bike. So I thought of that straight away. Man,
That's
this
funny.
has been an absolute pleasure, dude. Do you have any last words, shout outs, or thank yous you'd like to add in there before we end up?
Just, hey, thanks to anybody who's gonna listen. Thanks for listening to The Lowest Standard. Hope everybody digs it. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for having me here on your show. And appreciate your time.
Mark, this has been an absolute pleasure. Everyone jump over to Sell Yourself Short, bandcamp.com. Go grab some music. Grab the bloody Sell Yourself Short Christmas EP. Everyone, bloody crank it up loud so the neighbors can hear it. Mark, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thanks very much, mate.
Thanks for having me, Jay.
Cheers, mate.